everything.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel today for a special interview. I am alongside of the lovely and talented Elena Kampouris, who plays Meredith in a movie I just reviewed, Wifelike, which is available in some select theaters, but you can check it out on digital and on demand as of August 12th. Go check out the review, go check out the film, and obviously you want to tune in for this interview because we're going to have a good time, and it's an absolute pleasure of mine to have Elena on today to talk about her role as Meredith, as I said, in the film. But Elena, how you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on Big Gold Belt Media. And I'm glad we can make this happen.
I'm so excited. And you know what? I gotta, spoiler alert to the folks who haven't seen my review yet. A big highlight of the film was your performance. And I talked about you having this instinctive nature to clip between a human and a companion, which is a robot or android for the film. And the way how you were able to kind of blink between the two is fantastic. And then what this gives me chills now is how charismatic you are. So that means like you were literally playing not just an android and yourself, you were actually playing a different character and an android. So you were switching between potentially 3 personalities on set.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I'm trying to imagine now if like that was my personality, Meredith, that would be very just like a lot of long pauses and brooding moments. But no, yeah, that's the fun of it, is to play characters that are opposite to you or heck aren't even human. That was another exciting element to this one. But yes, it's funny that you said blink into other ones, because that was actually a humongous factor in playing and preparing to play Meredith, because even with James Bird, our director, and Stephen Paul, producer, we had creative discussions about the blinks. Yeah. Like, that's a huge decision you have to make when you're playing AI androids. Do they blink? Do they not blink? I mean, what quality are we dealing with? These are not cheap bots. So we at one point were like, should she not blink at all? And then I was like, oh, that might get too creepy. And so then we were like, let's just keep it all intentional. But literally, I kid you not, like every take we'd go and examine like how much the blinking, that it was it had the right rhythm and wasn't too human-like. So it's funny your choice of words.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I would love to kind of know, like, what were you kind of using to kind of reset? Because again, these personalities are distinctively different, and not just sort of say the personalities, but also like the aesthetic in front of the personality. You not only are acting sort of mute at times, but your whole posture and demeanor and mannerisms all become robotic. So like, what were you doing to kind of reset to not, so that they don't bleed into one another?
That's a good point. And that was very important, that they didn't bleed, that they were very distinct, because you've got the human Meredith and then the robot Meredith. And the big thing, again, was preparing firstly with the physicality. So yes, the posture, which I gotta keep that even now that we finished the movie, I'm like, stop talking. But that was a big aspect, making sure, because that's the thing about machines, there's always consistency. I would, even something as simple as an escalator, I would just observe an escalator, like just the rhythmic, there's such a, there's that reliability and stability. Whereas with humans, you've got different mannerisms. Maybe we stutter, maybe we clear our throat. I talk with my hands too much. A lot of modulation. Well, I was realizing it. So like, there was so much to observe and examine that you take for granted or don't even think about. So it was making sure that none of that bled into each other. When I was Meredith, I had luckily a great creative team keeping me in check. So if I ever swallowed, like clear my throat, tucked a piece of hair, we'd have to go again. And if I ever said like or if I just inserted that into a line, it was keeping even the rhythm of my speech very controlled, very like the cadence of an Alexa or Siri, but then adding nuance as she evolves and gets smarter. And then once I'm human Meredith, it was actually relief, Niger, because I could just let it all go. I was like, okay, I can throw it out the window and just relax and not worry about the pot, everything. But again, it was helpful, all of those things in clicking into the character. But once I was human Meredith, I could just throw it out the window.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's really fascinating. And again, I want to kind of take you back to initially getting in this role. You look at the script. Was there certain elements of it that did incite you, just as you expressed? And maybe were you able to pick up on that in the beginning, that you were going to be able to release like that, or was there actually parts of the script that was a little bit intimidating, possibly?
I mean, the whole undertaking in and of itself was, intimidating, because I've only ever played humans, and the whole acting is exploring the human experience and, these universal themes, which the film still does, lofty themes. But this was a challenge right off the bat, but I could really immediately sink into the world and picture it. It was so visceral, and, all the stuff going on. One thing that you said in your review, which I loved, was, I think you were like, the exploration of the dark places we will go to achieve love. And I thought that was such a profound statement, and really hit it on the head of what this film is about. So all of that stuff percolated right off of the first read. So even with the challenge, throw in the fact that this ended up being a 17-day shoot. I did not see that coming on the onset. I have never done that before, and I did not think it was possible.
Wow.
But we did it in the pouring rain in Vancouver. Thankfully, again, we had a supportive, cast, supportive team, Paramount behind us. So we did it, but everything was a challenge. But I savored that. I chased those kind of things. So all of it was very fun.
I'm so wowed. I think my first exposure to you was Before I Fall. Obviously, Shoplifters of the World was one of my favorite films of last year. So coming into you seeing this, and I did not identify you instantly. I knew who you were, but I just was
wait, favorite Smith song? I just gotta know, because you've seen Shoplifters, and that's such a specific movie.
Favorite Smiths? I gotta come back to that one. We can come back to that.
Think about it.
For sure. I'll have an answer for you. But it was so impressive instantly when I saw you in this film that I wasn't able to. Again, I noticed the face, but I was like, it was completely fascinating how you was completely able to transform instantly in this film. And I don't know if the film was shot in what's the word, from beginning to end, or were you like
order?
chronological?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they never do them in order. I don't think I've ever. That would be such a rare. But no, I mean, it's what makes you have no choice but to be really disciplined and like keep track, especially when you're playing these totally separate characters that have to be so distinctly different, so that we don't get confused and the lines don't get blurred. You got to keep track. And the thing is too, we were working with percentages, so I would have this kind of method worked out where, so I could keep track as in each scene. Okay, what's the percentage of robot of AI level am I at in this scene, as far as how intelligent and evolved Meredith is getting, and how human-like. So that would fluctuate. One scene, okay, I'm at 48% on this scene, so that would help on the day. So I'd be like 48% here, or I'm like 80% here. So it could help me modulate somewhat. It was a kind of system we worked out, because again, we'd shoot so many scenes in one day. We'd block shoot. So I'd be doing some of Meredith, and then right after that, I'd be human Meredith, and then right after that I'd be bot Meredith, and then after that I'd be in the dreams, and after that I'd be in the woods. I was like all over the place. But we did it.
That's so awesome. And I upon watching the film, I was fascinated by, obviously, in terms of future technological advances and what the world may become at some point. But there was a little bit of a horrific nature to this film. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who haven't seen it, but there was a certain aspect of this film that I was hoping would not just be like the full arc of the film. But I will spoil the fact that, like, I love the fact that your character, along with some of the other women, had this sort of redemption story that did not make you all, damsels in distress, but actually well-written, strong female characters that had a very tactical way in doing so, which I just love, because it kind of turned into like a very strange love story to like a spy espionage thriller towards the end.
I love that.
I was just so wow about it. So when you again reading through the script and you started to see how your character was going to evolve and sort of transform and then sort of become a beacon of hope for the rest of these other women, what was sort of your excitement then?
I mean, it's exactly what you're pointing out is, again, another aspect of what excited me about this is because there's such a strong arc that Meredith goes through. But for all of the women in this story, or AI women in the story, it's empowering, and it has that inspiring ending, and there's a revolution. Well, I'm not gonna give too much away. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. But there is hope. Yeah. As well as the main message that it's sending, which I, from your review, you caught, which is like, has much changed, even though this is the setting is the future, or not too far future.
Yes.
It's not really departed from where we are now, especially if you go back into ancient times when women are just there to sit and be pretty and entertain men and please men and be there for their pleasure, and then that's it, like have no voices. And I go back, I'm even talking like ancient Greece, because I love ancient Roman mythology and history.
No, Greek mythology.
Okay, so tell me your favorite myths, favorite god. Throw something at me. I gotta know.
I was like, wait, where's my book at? I was like, there we go. Yeah, I love some Greek mythology. Keep it nearby, just in case.
Okay, my favorite. Do you have a favorite myth, like story?
I mean, it's going to sound like super biased, but like I will always love like the story of Troy, the War of Troy, and with Achilles. I'm just a sucker for that story.
We're on the same wavelength. I've studied so much about the Trojan War. I love that time.
Trojan War.
Everything about it. But it's so funny because you're making me think of what sparked for me when I first read this story was the story of Pandora, who, Helen, she was the face that launched 1,000 ships. Pandora was like the first woman in Greek mythology. And to me, she's the ancient robot. If you think about it, the gods all gave her different traits, right? Poseidon gave her the necklace so she wouldn't drown. Athena gave her weaving skills. Apollo, I think he taught her how to sing and play the lyre. Zeus, he gave her a cunning mind and a crafty tongue. But Hera, she gave the most dangerous weapon of all, the most dangerous trait. They call it a weapon, which is women's curiosity. And then she brought on all of men's strife and turmoil. Like, to me, that was such a representation of the ancient robot, right? And then that's kind of paralleled with the women in the companions in this story. And that's why everything was very intentional, from the clothes that we're wearing to the message that we're sending with the function of these companions, and then to the agency and that power dynamic between ownership of these men and identity and ego, which will win out. It first starts out as a domestic power play between husband and wife, and that's very clear from the beginning. But I love what you're saying about a love story. It becomes a love story, I think, between these companions and each other as sisterhood, but also maybe a love story between Meredith, AI, and Ghost Meredith. And then you've got this uprising potentially and other stuff. There's just a lot going on. But it's exciting. You figure, like, mythology to me is like it's so rich.
We're definitely like, I love that take. Jeez, I love that take. It's like that just made me really spark the idea of like, I need to watch this again to kind of see it from that lens. That's really, really
first thing I thought when I read the script. And I'm like, I just got back from Greece. We were shooting Greek 1 and 3, and to see the beauty of the Acropolis, Poseidon, and to like be in the terrain and of my home, and to soak that in, it was even more in my head space. So I think there's so many parallels to this story and that, and just, I mean, even if you go into the French Revolution and women wearing corsets and being kind of a corset, which is like a cage, like there's just so many parallels throughout history. But of course, I'm always going to take it back to the Greek history.
We're definitely like BFFs now. Like
it's done. Now we're gonna go watch Troy. We gotta go watch Troy.
Yes. Oh my God, you're amazing. I should answer your question too. My favorite Smith song. I think it's either between. I was thinking Panic earlier, but I was like, is it just because I just think it's super mainstream? But I like Panic.
Not mainstream, please. They're like the anti-mainstream. I don't think you can have any wrong answer.
True. And I would say The Charming Man. I think that's where I would go with that. So, about you? So fun.
Charming. I love them all, honestly. But of course, I'm a little partial to Sheila Take a Bow, just because of the character and that with that. Memes but Panic's all of them, that. But it was just so fun to see. You've seen the movie. You're quite the movie buff. But I can't help myself.
I think that's a lot of my focus here is just to get exposure to independent films that a lot of people may be overlooking that are like really good. And like when you do get an opportunity to support some of these films, especially when they're still very independent, why not get it when it's hot? Don't wait till like 3 years later and then you get to talk about. I mean, I think The Black Phone by Ethan Hawke is a prime example. I think it premiered like 2 years ago.
I have not gotten to see it.
It's really good. But you know, like when you get an opportunity to try to check out something early, do it.
Noted. Black Phone on my list.
Listen, I can give you suggestions for days if you need that.
Yes.
So your counterpart in this film, Jonathan, who plays William.
Yes.
Ooh, I got to sigh because I have never had a character be so. It's very clear he's mischievous. Something up with him. To me, just completely just like F this guy. It's like the worst type of person. And like things started added up. When your character's first introduced and how she's introduced, and then you see her a couple of scenes later, and it's like the Men in Black taser got her, and then like she's like a different person, and he's still like in the center of all of this. I'm like, something's not adding up. And like, did I like fall asleep for a second? Because I have no clue what's happening, but I just was so. My antennas was up to him the entire time, wondering like, what are you up to? But I would love to know your two experiences on set together.
Again, so 17 days thrown into it with Jonathan Rhys Meyers. I'm very grateful that it was him because he's so supportive. I mean, the scenes that we have are very intense, intimate. Yeah. He was always respectful and making sure I felt comfortable and to go to all these different places and all these different levels. He was so supportive and also hilarious. Like he's playing this character, right? Your antennas were like, oh, you know, alarms going off. It's so funny because he's such a kind person. Yeah. He's so funny because again, when you're shooting these scenes, they're like, you know, there's heavy things happening. You know, to have that levity and, you know, comic relief it's a great, you know, cathartic thing. You know, it's a medicine on set, and that we all. It was such a wonderful crew. Again, we had James Bird, Stephen Paul, Jonathan. Like it was a really great synergy to have. If you know. At that kind of a pace, so it was really fun, and the scenes were so juicy. I think one thing now that the movie's out, I've liked seeing that people are catching the dynamic when he's setting like the settings that happen, right? You know, it's so disturbing. And I think those scenes were what also were, you know, intriguing to me because it really grasp that there can be moments of tenderness and love and connection, and that's what these companions are sold for, and that's the whole the selling point. But then at the end of the day, you see that they're machines, and there's this hollow voidness, especially in the beginning when he's setting her, and you see that, oh my gosh, again in this pursuit of love and companionship. You know, everybody feels lonely. That's a human emotion, and there's nothing wrong with feeling lonely. It's so real. But it just shows like that. I think it that coupling and those kind of instances and scenes with Jonathan are really fascinating and disturbing to me, and like you said, horrific. Some of these moments, because it really hits you. Then you're like, nope, that is a machine. That is not a human being. That is a machine that has no agency, no voice, and that then to go from there, I think it's a really great launching point for the story. It's you know, it's really well written.
And you know, it definitely pulls you by the tie in terms of emotion, in terms of just investment. I thought James Bird did a fantastic job in putting this film together. But I'm going to say James isn't done, because that's just what I'm going to say. And you're not done either. So my question is, you know, and folks, you know, please, I highly, as I said in the beginning, check out Wifelike, available on digital on demand as of today. It could still be possibly in theaters, because it was released in select theaters, which if you can see it in theaters, totally check it out, because it's visually, aesthetically pleasing. And the cinematography is really well done. I think, like, why not go see it on the biggest screen possible? So, but I'm going to give you all 3 seconds, because I'm definitely about to talk a little bit about spoilers here. So folks, if you haven't seen the film, go do so, and then come back to his interview. What a cliffhanger of an ending here. And my only, it's not even an issue, but my only dissatisfaction with this film is because I want more. I thought the film set up a very good job in creating a world, creating conflict, and then not just centered conflict around these characters, but like global conflict in the world that they're building here. Where would you love to see this go here?
Everything is flipped on its head, by the end. I agree, there are so many questions, and there's, I think I've said this before, the possibilities are endless. If we have enough people see this movie and support the film, there could be a sequel in our midst. And I'm sure you caught, there's a lot of little kind of gems hidden throughout, and little hints to other things. You hear childlike, you hear of something that happens with a certain someone at the very end who pops out of nowhere, and there's a lot of pieces coming together, and there's so many different areas that this can go into, and like you said, on a global sphere. So it's extremely exciting, it's exhilarating, and it's fun also to be seeing the reactions. But I'm in agreement with you. But the thing is, just gotta have people keep seeing it, keep watching it, and keep chiming in.
There you have it. I'm very intrigued. I think, I had a good time with this film, but I think the second one would easily like put this one to sleep, because I think now that the world and the stakes are at its highest, and you can jump right into that. I mean, and you can even almost kind of move genres a little bit too. I mean, as I said, this is more sci-fi, which is, a big umbrella of things, but it's sort of a love story. Then, like I said, it turns into like a spy espionage thriller. Next, you can go thriller action if you want. I mean, look at your cast here. You have
of chaos. We got to bring you into the
and there's folks that are, attached to this film who has stunt backgrounds. It's easy, and you have other folks who can easily come in and train some people up. I mean,
CJ Barry, yes. And our actual stunt team was wonderful. Kamani, and my stunt double on this is always a pleasant surprise when you run into crew members you've worked with before. And I'm a crew girl myself. So Andrea Ross was my stunt double on Sacred Lies, which is a show you should check out. I want your review now. It was a show I did for Blumhouse on Facebook Watch. You can see it. It's season 1, Sacred Lies. It's an anthology, modernized Brothers Grimm fairy tale of the handless maiden. So I play a double amputee who escapes from a cult in the woods and ends up in juvie. It's a really deep, like, mystery, psychological thriller.
Right down my alley.
I've got it. And now I'm like, I need to know what you think of this. And it's 10 episodes. But the point I'm making, I always digress, is my stunt double on that was Andrea Ross. And on Jupiter's Legacy with Alice Rosano, she was my double, which is a Netflix show you should also check out. All of these.
I'm not bringing up Jupiter's Legacy because that will literally make me start blowing steam. We'll talk off the air, because that makes me really mad. Oh my
God! Now I'm the curiosity.
I loved it. I just loved it.
With the curiosity.
I loved it, and it should still be here. And I also was a fan of comics, so just.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on that as well. But yeah, my point was the same stunt people. Like we find each other, and it was again such a wonderful. All the pieces came together, and to have that kind of family environment on set made such a difference when you're tackling these things.
Well, I do have to ask the question that not only myself, but I'm sure the fans and the audience wants to know. What potentially may you be able to discuss that you are working on, that may be coming out, or any other personal creative things that you would like to promote?
Well, I mean, I did just say I got back from Greece literally like a day or so ago. What is time? The days have blurred. But so that was shooting Greek Wedding 3 all over Greece. It was a dream come true. But now I want to go back. I'm like, take me back.
Yes, take me too.
I know. We gotta go together. We gotta find the ancient ruins of Troy. And we gotta have our own Odyssey now.
You can list me down as your stylist, your whatever, your bag handler. I don't care. Let's do it.
Reviewer to opine. And now I'm getting on that's why I'm getting on the Jupiter train, but stop me before I get ahead of myself. That's why I love Jupiter, because of the mythology and everything, like the parallels to the gods and goddesses. I go crazy for that stuff. I just eat it up. I'm like butter in my hand. But yes, See, I get so distracted. But to answer your question, yes, Prequel 3 is coming out. Also, one thing I want you to see too is Children of the Corn. I shot this during 2020, height of COVID in Australia. I mean, that was a whirlwind of a shoot, and it's, you know, total reimagining of that juicy story.
Has that released?
Not yet. It hasn't. It's coming soon though, very soon. So patience, and it'll be out, and I can't wait for everybody to see. I don't know about you, so I know you like sci-fi, I know you like dystopian films.
I love horror. Yeah, love horror too. Love horror. Yeah.
Wavelength.
Yeah.
So this is really inventive.
Okay, I can't wait to see that, because I knew I had seen it be listed somewhere, not only just on your list of projects, but I know I had seen it announced at some point. And the pandemic was obviously like this whole like paradox of things that should have came out, was going to come out, and maybe never will come out, or just at some point down the line.
You can't stop it. You can't stop the children of
weird times. Yeah, you can't stop the children.
Those kids, those crazy kids, they're gonna no, they're coming for you, trust me. But it's really fun, and I'm as a horror junkie myself, I'm really giddy about this one. And especially since when we shot it, and you know, again, the circumstances, it's like 350 hours of film at the end of the day that we got. But wonderful crew, everything. And to be in Australia for the first time, Nar Jark, I love Australia so much. Couldn't get enough of it. I want to go back to her. So there you go.
I just need to just be on your buddy pass. I just need, wherever you're going, I need to be there with you.
Big Gold Belt Media.
I'm the official representative of all things Super Baby Sloth. So you heard it here.
The spirit animal. I can't help it. It's the sloths and the bulldogs for me. So what's your spirit animal? Now I need to know. Get it out there.
Okay, so I feel like only like a few people in my entire life know this, and it's like the most silliest thing, but it's very, very true. So baby cows, and not whatever they're really called, but like baby cows, just baby cows, ones that never get bigger. Yeah, just baby cows. I love baby cows.
Okay, so maybe this movie
and Canadian geese.
Canadian geese. I was gonna say, this is like, you only want baby cows. They can't get older. So is it kind of like childlike? Do we need baby cow-like for you? Like, that's up your alley. You want the baby?
So if this rate, we're cloning people, we sure as hell better be able to clone animals too.
I think that's been happening. I don't even know. I don't want to know.
You're right. You're right about that. There was a question saying, where did guinea pigs come from? And I was like, oops, I don't think I know.
Who wants to tell him? How we break it?
Well, it's clear that we have a lot to talk about again, with Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 coming back. Children of the Corn going to be releasing soon. And obviously, because we don't even have to talk about movies you're in, we could just talk about movies, period. But like, there's a lot of reasons that we have to at some point do another chit chat around. So
absolutely, I'm on board. It's so much fun.
Absolutely. Well, again, folks, check out Wifelike. Support it. It is available on demand and digital today. And if you can check it out in theaters, check your local theaters. You never know. Check it out. It is a film that while it brings you in almost as a love story, keep your detective hat on. There's clues left and right, and then there's a redemption story, and then things start to get very spicy to the point that you're going to be just like me. Where is the sequel? Because we need it.
Those antennas firing. There's something in it for everybody. And again, I appreciate so much your support for this film and your generous review. I mean, again, this was a movie we shot back in December against all these odds. We did it as a team effort. And, you know, there wasn't a lot of CGI used in this film too. I don't know how, you can notice, and also not on my performance. Nothing was CGI. That was hard work in the gym. I'm a proud Gold's gym girl. Another reason why I was excited to do this. But again, I just, it means a lot to have this dialogue with you and to get the word out there, and to talk all this stuff. It was a delight.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Well, folks, jump in the comments. Let us know your thoughts about the film once you check it out, or any questions or follow-up questions you may have for Elena. I will make sure she gets an eye on them, or she might just be watching it herself, because as you heard her say. She bees on the YouTubes looking at things. So you never know. Be
Good to
positive.
know.
Be good.
I'm a big Gold Belt Media fan. What can I say? And now we're connected. And we were, 'cause we were messaging, and now we've met face to face in our glass boxes.
Right.
But still, I'll take it. Hopefully
That's
one day
right.
in person.
For sure. Absolutely, for
Greece,
sure.
in the
For
ancient
sure.
ruins. We will do it.
Everybody, thank y'all so much for tuning in for this interview. We'll see you around very soon for much more content.
Bye.